The last thing we want to be told, you need to leave your home, your safe haven. It's the last thing we want to hear, right? But sometimes it's the only way to survive, and this backpack is going to help me. And I'm going to go through that with you today.
Whether it's a hurricane like Ian that just came through, flooding, wildfires, earthquakes, or even nuclear fallout, no one is immune to being evacuated to disaster, and that happened to my family last year for 6 weeks.
I've partnered with Side by Side on this video, and you're going to be able to enter to win this kit. I'm going to show you what's in it, but also there's going to be a link in the description below and a code for 10% off anything in their store. So make sure you visit, but make sure you enter to see if you can win this special set. I want to preface this by saying that this is not a bug out bag. I'm not going to be going out in the wilderness for days and weeks at a time, hopefully, and trying to build a shelter and all that kind of thing. And this is a bag that says you have to evacuate now. This is the only thing I have time to grab. I can get in my car, I can go to family or friends, maybe a hotel, maybe a shelter, and God forbid, a Walmart parking lot, and get myself away from whatever harm is coming my way. So this bag stays packed with me all the time, but before I go through this, I have one other bag I need to go through because it's going to make more sense once you see that bag. For those of you who haven't seen my video on what's in my everyday carry handbag, I'll put a link in the video description below. It'll go through everything that's in here. I'm not going to go through that again, but those of you who have watched it know how much stuff is in this bag. But I have another bag that I carry. This is another everyday carry bag. This bag is for if I'm going out shopping all day, away like an hour or so from my house, and I don't know if the weather's going to change or anything like that. It allows me to carry a few things, and I want to go over that with you now. The first thing it carries in here is a puffer. Because I live in the Bay Area, 30 miles can mean 30 degrees in temperature change, so I always have a puffer year-round with me. It's just something I carry. I also always carry water. I'm always carrying water with me, so that sits in here. For those of you who have seen my travel snack bag, I have one in here as well. It just has very similar things like bone broth and things like that, and a couple of bars in here just to have as a snack. This came in really useful when I was visiting my mom in the hospital. It was over Labor Day weekend and the hospital cafeteria was closed. This came in really handy. Then I have a little waist pack. If I want to go hiking and I stop and I want to take a 1 or 2 hour hike, this is my waist pack, and I'll go through that next. Next, I want to go over this little hiking bag that I carry all the time. It's a little waist pack, so I can put it on and do a little 1 or 2 hour hike. Let's start back here. First thing I have back here is a little wallet that's actually not a wallet. It's actually a first aid kit with some wipes, and I have Band-Aids, I have sunscreen, I have mosquito repellent, and I also have this little tiny survival guide in this little waterproof bag. And I'll show you what's in this. Let me show you real quick. It has a magnifier because it's very hard to read this. It's so tiny. This is a little card to tell you about the bag. This is something that tells you about the different things in the tool that comes with this kit here. This is called the Tiny Survival Card, and it comes with this teeny tiny little credit card, really thin set of different things like fishing hooks and saws and little knife and an arrowhead. And these are magnetics. They stick to this and keep it all nice and together. And then there's this guide that comes with it that talks about everything from what to do if you have a snake bite, food planting, trapping, foraging, navigation, all kinds of things, self-defense, knots, worst case scenarios. And the thing is, it's so small, that's why you need that little magnifying glass to read this. So that is in this little bag here. In this bag, I have my Matador single little blanket. This folds out to a blanket that you can lay down on in the grass. I have a bandana, which I can put around my head or my neck or use as a tourniquet. I have a pair of really thin glove liners because sometimes when you're hiking up in the hills, it gets windy, and these make my hands have a little break from the wind, and you can use this to touch and use your phone. I have my Chico water sling, which some of you have seen before. This allows me to carry the next thing, which is my bee-free water bottle that has a filter on it. This will filter out 99.9% of bacteria, cysts, and spores. I could drink water from a pond or a river or a lake with this. I always use that when I'm hiking. And then this last pocket has a hydration pack, just in case, I get too dehydrated. There's some electrolytes. I have my larger Gerber knife, some sunscreen for my lips, and my multi-tool that I carry so that if I needed a weapon right away, I've talked about this, you've got something right away. I don't have to fish around and try to open something up. This has this in my hand, impact for punching, clawing or scraping, hooks onto my belt, and still has all kinds of knives, and especially this, a pair of scissors. So that is what's in my little pack here. This is a waterproof bag for my phone. So if I am shooting near water or I want to get close to the water, this allows me to use this bag to shoot with my phone and keep my phone protected. It also prepares and protects it for drops and things like that. So this is always in here just in case I want to shoot something. I have a little carabiner here that has a whistle, and then this other little carabiner that will just hold things if I need to. In this little stasher's bag is a battery, charging cords, a car charger, 12 volt, and then my actual plug right here to plug into the wall. I always carry that with me as well. And that's everything that's in this bag. Now we'll go to this bag. I just want to start by saying that this is my go bag. It's very personal to me. My age, my gender, where I live, how fit I am, etc. So this is just something that's going to be a basis to say, have a go bag. I don't care who you are, where you are, how old you are, anything. Have something prepared. And if you don't have anything prepared right now, start tonight. And if that means you've got an old backpack, you just need to put a few things in it, that's great. It's better than nothing. This pack is if we get a call, a text, something on our phone that says you need to evacuate. You've got about 15 minutes to get out of your house. I'm going to have this all ready to go. That way, if I need to pack a duffel with some other things, I can do it. But if I had to get out quickly, this is there, and I know all my essentials to keep me comfortable and safe are in this bag. Then I can worry about the other things that I need. For me, packing a go bag is very much like packing a bag for travel, except it's just going to be more survivalist type of things in case the power's out, the water's not working well, or something like that. The first three things I'm going to cover are things that are in my car all the time. I always carry a pair of trail runners in my car. Like I said, sometimes I want to stop off and go hiking. I always have trail runners. I also have a folding hiking pole that's a multi-tool. I'm not going to go through exactly everything in this today, but when I do my car video, I'll go through this. And I keep this in my car. It's just a folding insulated mat. I've taken it out for the purposes of showing that if I had to carry it, how I would do it. But this is also my car. So if I go car camping or had to sleep in my car, I have something, but again, strapped on here in case I needed to be in a shelter or something. Of course, every packing situation for me starts with what I'm going to wear. I always have a variety of hiking pants that I keep around. I talk about these Prana hiking pants a lot. They're stretchy. They zip off here at the knee to make a nice little capri or shorts. The next thing you'll see here is a vest. It's a lightweight vest. It's just fill here in the front. It has 4 pockets, 2 here and 2 on the inside. The next thing I have is this hooded Zip Up Sweatshirt. It also has 4 pockets. I have 2 here and then 2 on the inside as well that I can carry things. It's a lightweight, really micro fleece, so it'll keep me warm, but not so warm that I feel like I just need to get it off. So those are my 2 top layers, my bottom layers, and then underneath here, I just have wool tank top. I like wool because it doesn't smell if you have to wear it day after day, and it washes well. So I like to have wool when possible, but everything else that I wear is synthetic, and there's a reason for that. The saying we have in the Forest Service is cotton kills, because if it gets wet, it doesn't dry fast and will wick your temperature away, and if it catches fire, it burns. Synthetic materials will melt, but they won't burn. wool will like not catch on fire. It's also antimicrobial, and it dries and keeps you warmer. All right, let's start on the outside of the pack. As many of you can see here, I have a mat. This is one of those large camping mats. I'm sure many of you have seen these before. What's great about this is if I have to sleep in my car, I can sleep in there. If I get to a shelter and they say there's no room, and it happens a lot, I'll say, look, can I just use the floor or anything? I've got a place to sleep. It's silver on this side. It'll reflect my body heat back to me. If it's a hot day, I can use this side. It'll help keep me a little cooler. But at least if I have to sleep on a floor, or if I'm in a shelter and the cots are uncomfortable, this is going to give me a little bit more support and keep me a little bit more comfortable. The next thing you notice here is I have a rain jacket. It's completely rainproof. It's going, and I just keep it together with hair ties, by the way. It just keeps all around. This jacket's completely rainproof, so that way if I'm outside and it's pouring down rain, it has a hood with a little bit of a bill. I can zip it all the way up, and it's going to be able to keep me dry, keep the wind off of me. And I like the bright red color because if I had to flag someone down to let them know where I am and fling this around in the air, it's going to get somebody's attention. And that's true with this mat too. It's bright yellow. It's something that if I needed to catch someone's attention, I could use this as well. This is the front that you saw on me earlier. And you're probably wondering, what the heck is that thing? It's a fan. It's a little portable fan, and you're thinking, why would you need that? Well, if it's hot, or if it's hot when I'm walking, or if it's hot in a shelter or someplace, or even in a hotel room, I can put this fan, it'll sit right up, just like this, on a table. It has 3 speeds. It also provides a little bit of white noise, which is also nice. I have a little glow-in-the-dark zipper pull that if I needed to put it on a zipper or coat or anything, just allows me to know where something is. It glows a little bit. This is my favorite light. I like it because it folded completely flat, but as you can see, it's something that I can hang it, I can set it upside down, I can hook it from here, I can have it all different ways. And this particular one also changes color. So, you know, if I want some different color or I need to flash something to get someone's attention, that works great. So having some sort of light that you can use, whether you're in a shelter or even in a hotel room. This is also solar powered. I can get it to charge by solar or by USB. This is a tiny little bag that if I needed to put something wet or dirty clothes or something in it, it's just a little shopping bag basically, but if I needed to have something kind of keep it from getting wet, this will do that. It doesn't zip or anything like that, but I would use it to put my dirty clothes in and things like that when I'm at the shelter. Of course, I have my hand sanitizer that comes in the kit from Side by Side. It's right here on the front, so I can get to it and clean my hands without wasting any water, so this is always good to have. This is a little waterproof pouch that hooks onto your backpack harness, and you can put a phone in it, you can put several different things in it. I just happen to have duct tape and some other little equipment here, like oh my gosh, Brandon, you're gonna have to tell me again what this is called. This is self-amalgamating tape. Silicone tape that sticks to itself, and it's great for sealing leaks, but it's also great for taping around a wound so that if you have something that's bleeding a bit, this will keep it closed, and it's silicone. I also have just a couple of twist ties and things like that in here. I have a Grail water bottle and filter. This allows me to take this apart, and then what I can do is, if I can get it apart, fill this with water from a lake, stream, whatever. And then this filter, once you start pressing that down through there, filters all of the water so that you'll have clean water in this tube. I also have in here a pair of pantyhose. Remember pantyhose? Yeah. Why do I have pantyhose in here? 2 reasons. If I'm hiking and I'm starting to get a blister, if I put this on and then put a sock on, it's going to help the rubbing. It's about having 2 layers, and this will be close to your skin and keep it from rubbing as much. The other thing I can do is I can put that sock down in here, pull it up over the edge of this cup, and then if I have to pour really dirty water in here that's got scum and leaves in it, this will catch most of that in here, and then when I press it through here, it'll just be keeping my filter a little bit cleaner. So just buy a pair of dollar store pantyhose, folks, and just knee highs, and just put them in your backpack. The next thing I have Is my security door lock. I've talked about this several times in my travel videos. This goes into the door, and once this hooks on here, nobody can get into your room. It's going to allow you to sleep really well at night. So if you're lucky enough to get a hotel room, this will help keep you safe. I also have a little notebook and a couple of pens. The side-by-side kit comes with this great one. It's a pen on one side, and then on the other side, if there's like knobs you don't want to touch with your fingers, it has this little pressure pusher on it so that you don't have to touch it with your fingers. I also keep this other pen, which is called a space pen. It writes upside down and underwater and everything like that. And just a little notebook, because I may need to write something to a note to someone, say here's where I am, or this is where I left, or this is where I'm headed, or just to keep a little journal when you're going through something horrible like that, just to journal about what's going on. And then this tiny little colored pencil set. It's going to allow me to doodle if I want. It has an eraser and a sharpener and some colored pencils. Or if there's somebody whose little kid just needs something to do, this will help keep them occupied for a little bit of time. I have my little backpacking pooper shovel. Just in case if I'm walking to a shelter somewhere and I need to go to the bathroom, I have something. I have a larger Matador folding blanket. This will accommodate 2 people, or if you're laying down, let's say on this mat, and you need something to cover up with, this can act as a blanket, or, you know, like I said, if you're on a cot somewhere, it's just an extra blanket to help keep you covered if you're going to be sleeping somewhere that you don't have a blanket. The last thing I have in here is a little bivy. It's just like one of those emergency blankets, but it's shaped like a tube so you can get into it. It'll reflect like 90% of your body heat back. I can put this out, lay this on the inside. It'll keep me dry. It'll keep me warm if I'm sleeping in some like weird hallway somewhere or something like that. This is going to help keep me a little dry and a little more warm. So that is a emergency bivy. My top pocket here has some gloves that are work gloves. These are leather. They are made for women. They're smaller, but they fit my hands well. So if I had to lift something dirty or heavy, or that I didn't want my hands on, this is going to help protect me a little bit. I also have a hospital N95 mask, because if there's a fire or like a refinery burn or something like that, this is going to help filter out some of the particulate, so it'll help protect me. I also have this little water tool. So if you're in an urban area and you need to get water, if a place has the little knob off of it, you can use this to turn. There's 4 different sizes on this to get water if I need to. So good for an urban go bag. This side pocket is my food cooking pocket. Hopefully not using a lot of that. This has powdered peanut butter in it, so I can just mix some water in here and have some protein. This has some things like waterproof matches, and it also has this tiny little, I took a little lip gloss tube pack thing here, this little metal tin, and you'll see this green stuff that's in here. It's called Pyro Putty. It starts a fire immediately. If I take a little bit of this on a little stick, it'll just immediately catch on fire. Rain, shine, snow, anytime. And you don't need much of it. It just catches on fire, and I just keep it in this little lip gloss container. And then I keep a little candle in here just in case, because, you know, a candle is just always good to have. So this is my little fire bag. Hopefully we won't need that, but if the power goes out, that candle would come in really handy. The next thing I have in here is a plasma lighter. What I like about this is it's in a waterproof container already, and so it just closes, opens up, and then if I press this, let me see, I'll just show it to you up close. It allows me to have a fire, and it's rechargeable through USB, so that way, as long as I can get some power, I can start a little fire if I need to. I have my Gogirl. I've talked about this in my camping videos. For us women, you don't want to be with a backpack yanking your pants down and trying to squat down and get back up. Yeah, you could take your backpack off. Guess what? You can also just open up your zipper, stick this in there, and pee like a guy and kind of just be done with it. So that goes with me. Antibacterial wipes. This is my kitchen in my hand, so to speak. I'll give you an up-close view of what this is, but this is basically, I have a pot right here. This is going to open up and make a square pot. and I'll do a separate little thing and show you how this works. But this is great because I can boil water, cook in here, eat from here, and then inside of here is a little camping stove. This thing pops open to a little stove that I can either put an alcohol burner or some of those little burning bricks, or I can put wood and feed it in like a little stove, and that way I can heat water or anything up in this. Again, this is just really quick, something to get me through. This is not something that you're going to want to be cooking on for days and days and days, but it's something that will help. These are my utensils. This is a really, really old spoon and fork set that, oh my gosh, this is so old. And it has a knife and a can opener on it as well. Just something so I can eat out of this. I'm not kidding, this is probably like 30 years old, but it works. It's in my kit. And a little thing of quarters, because if I find a vending machine and I need to get something, quarters always work in vending machines. There is a little bottom pocket on this backpack, and inside of here is a deck of plastic playing cards. They get wet, they're not going to disintegrate, but playing cards are great. You can play by yourself, you can play, get a group of people together and play something. So this helps pass the time, just keeps your mind off of the whole disaster thing a little bit. So those are an easy bring. And then of course it has my rain cover to cover all this up. So if I'm packing it out and it starts to rain, I can cover this whole thing up with a rain cover and keep everything really dry. All right, now we're in the main pocket of this thing. Let's see what we've got here. All right, my front pocket here at the top, I've got toilet paper that I have put through a vacuum sealer, but it's a whole roll of toilet paper and I just vacuum sealed it. It's really almost like wood, it's crazy. I have some prescription medication in a Nalgene bottle. I like these because they're completely waterproof. If these were to get wet, it would help keep it waterproof. And some B-complex vitamins, because when you're stressed, you need B-complex vitamins. I also have a waterproof solar-powered flashlight. This is a Mylar bag that has my battery in here. That's a solar battery. For those of you who watch my camping video, you've seen I have a couple of these. But this is, if the power's out and I can't get any power to juice anything or to charge anything, I can set this out in the sun. It'll power this battery, so that way I can take it back in and charge things like lights and phones, ear pods and things like that. So that goes in here. That's to keep it dry. That's just in case, like I said, you never know if there's a flood or an evacuation or hurricane, things can get really wet, and I want to keep things dry, and it's in this Mylar bag. This little stasher's bag has a headlamp, one of these tiny little bug lights that wrap around things. I've wrapped it around my wrist so I can get down into something and look in a bag, and a tiny little book light that if I'm in a situation where I'm in a shelter and I want to write or read, this is a tiny little book light, bookmark light. You can bookmark it and I can turn it down and read something, and then I'm not bothering everybody else with that. So that is what is in here. Again, I keep these in stasher's bags and things like this because if things get wet, especially electronics, they're not going to work. So a lot of my electronics are in here, including this, which is my hand warmer. This is great. I can separate it, and I have it for each of my hands and keep my hands warm. I can put it together for a larger bit of heat and put it in a shirt. I can put each of these in the bottom of a pair of socks if my toes are cold, and then that way they could keep my toes a little bit warm. I can put it in my armpit or anything that where a lot of blood circulation is. It's going to warm you up quick, and it's USB rechargeable, and I keep that in there with both of the cords and a plug that has dual ports so that I can charge these both up at the same time, and that way I can use it to keep me warm in bed, hiking, whatever it happens to be. I have just one hiking hat in here because this has a drop down that'll allow me to keep rain and sun off the back of my neck. I also have a first aid kit. I'm not going to go through everything in this. I'll make a separate video about what's in my first aid kit, how I packaged it, because there's a lot in here in this little format, so I'll make a separate video on that. I also brought a cable lock because this way, if I want to lock my bag up to something, it's just, again, a little bit of safety. No one's going to walk off with your bag. There's a lot of things that are going to be in there. Here is a dry bag with a towel. I just keep a large towel with me because if I'm in a shelter situation and they may not have towels, but I know I have my own towels. And this towel opens up really big. So again, if I'm laying on this mat and I want some extra cover, I can use this then as a little blanket on top of me just to give me a little bit of extra cover. And I keep it in a dry bag again in case something gets wet. I have a dry towel. This is my Toiletries bag, and this just has toothbrush, toothpaste. I have my set of towels that I've talked about many times in my other videos. Earplugs, because you're probably going to be in a place that's a little noisy. I bring several pairs in case I lose them or I need to give them to someone else. And then all of my soaps are these little soap leaves that as long as I don't have my hands wet and I'm picking them up dry will be great to use. Just don't use wet hands or they're going to stick together. And then a little deodorant or antiperspirant wipe. And I think I've shown you this before. I keep toothpaste tabs and floss already cut up to the length I need, and I keep them in here, and there's enough to get me through 2 weeks right here. This bag is a great waterproof bag by Side by Side. That's going to be in this kit that you're going to be wanting to get through the giveaway. This dry bag carries clothing for me, so I'll have the clothes on my back, but I'm also going to be carrying some workout pants that are nice to sleep in, something like that. I'm also going to be carrying in here another tank top, a collared shirt that I can wear alone or over something, and this also has bug repellent built into it to help keep bugs away from me. And then I also have a pair of underwear, another pair of convertible pants, another pair that will convert to shorts, because you never know what time of year it's going to be. It could be hot or cold. You want to have options on things to wear. In here, some wool socks. You get those. These wool socks are those toe socks that have little toes in them. And I wear them like this because that way, if I'm in a shelter or anywhere and I want to wear my flip-flops, which are right here, just a cheap pair of flip-flops that if I need to go to the showers, I have something to wear. If I'm walking around the shelter or something, I can put my toe socks on, put these on. I'm a little bit warmer. And also, if I'm going to be hiking a lot, I'll put these on and then another layer of socks on top of them. That's going to be able to help keep my feet and toes from getting blisters. I also have this little seat. It's a little seat that you blow up like a stadium seat, but I use it not only as a stadium seat, but if I blow it up just part of the way, I can use it as a pillow when I'm sleeping on a cot or on this folding mat. So this is a self-inflating, and then I can blow it up to whatever firmness I want and use it how I want. Last things that are in here are almost done. I'm going through this quickly, I know. A bunch of hydration pack things and bone broth in here, because if nothing else, you can go days without food, but you need to be hydrated. You need to have some protein and electrolytes. So I just keep a whole bunch of these in here. If I don't use them, I can maybe help somebody else who's maybe sick or whatever, or needs them. And I also have a couple of instant coffees in here as well. So I keep all of those in here. All right, this last bag is the most important bag in this bag, which has this weird thing in it, and I'll show it to you in a minute. But what's in here is my side-by-side document holder with RFID. If I'm going to be going to the shower and I am going to be not wanting to leave important documents or things laying around if I'm in a shelter, I can put this on and take it. It has my passport, maybe my birth certificate, credit cards. It's all RFID in this bag. And it also has a couple of little pockets here. So I'll talk about this here. I'm going to give you some more details. But this is part of that kit that you will get if you enter to win this. This along with the dry bag and the pen and the hand sanitizer, great to have in your emergency kit, help keep you organized. I keep things in this all the time now. So I keep my passport in here. I keep my passport card in here. I keep an extra credit card in here. And then I also keep cash, because if electricity's down and you need to buy something, cash is king. So always bring a little bit of cash with you. And that way, like I said, if I'm going to the shower, I don't want to leave this around. I can put this right over my neck. And if I want to, I can expand it to go and be a crossbody bag. And that way I have that with me no matter where I go. This is easy to carry. The thing that's in here is what they call a UV pack light. I know it looks really weird, but with any light, this light, any light, it'll glow in the dark and it'll allow me to be able to find this quickly if I need to. There's a multitude of uses. You can use this camping to put up on guy lines so you're not tripping over them, or you're in a shelter and you can't find your bed. This will glow and let you know where your bed is. And the most important thing of all for you to carry is a backpack of some sort. Choose whatever size fits you that will allow you to carry the weight you can carry. If all you have at home is like a student backpack or a laptop backpack, just take an old backpack. Start putting things in that are useful to you, that things that you need to have with you when you bug out. You're saying, I can grab this bag and know if that's all I get, I'm good. So making sure you have a good backpack. Hopefully this one has a little bit of it's not a spine really, but some plastic in the back to give it some stability. It'll also have a front hook here to help keep it so that it's tight across your chest. And this one also has a little belt to go across the waist so I can tighten it up around my hips, and my hips will carry the weight of this bag. And just to let you know, all of this in this bag is 17 pounds. All right, I have my meal ready to eat. I have a beef stick, I have water, I have a bed and my pack, everything that I had with me, and I'm in a shelter. Okay, I'm not in a shelter, I'm in my living room, but I'm practicing, and I think it's a good idea to go through once a year, go through your pack, practice, eat any meals that you have in there, replenish them with new ones, make sure everything's working, but also just practice sleeping out on the floor or on a cot so that you have an idea of what this is going to be like and what you're going to need to be comfortable and safe. And do that with your family, because especially with kids, that's a really scary situation. And you can make it fun in your living room, pretend like you're camping out. So when the real deal does happen and they're in a shelter, they're going to be terrified. But you can always recall back and say, hey, remember that time we did that camp out in the living room and how much fun it was? That'll help them ease through this. All right, let's try this stuff now. Here we go. Not bad at all. I keep a couple of these in my car, just in case. I like it. All right, I'm done eating. I've got my cot, I've got my pad, I've got my towel as a blanket, I've got my seat as my pillow, my fan will be here. I've got some light. There'll be a link in the video description to my Amazon storefront that will have all of these things listed. I am not going to list them individually. There's just too many things. So you go to the storefront, it'll have all of these things there. All right, to get this kit from Side by Side, you need to enter this contest by 1, subscribing to this channel, number 2, liking this video, and number 3, comment on what you would do with this kit from Side by Side. This contest will be open from 1 week from the date that this video airs. I'll close it down, choose a random winner, and Side by Side will ship this to you. So what are you waiting for? Get on it. So until the next time, juice life, drink the joy, keep life simple, be prepared. I'll see you in the next video. Man, nobody in the shelter sleeping with this thing. That is so horribly noisy. Sounds like I don't know what.